Graad 8, ons merk die huiswerk van oefening 8.6, exercise 8.6, the homework that you had. We are multiplying. Who says we're multiplying? What will the question say? Question will say, do this. They will say, simplify. Wat sal die vraag vra? Wat moet jy hier doen? Jy moet maal. Vereenvoudig. En om te maal, wat is die reëls? I want you to get this in your brain that you can never ever forget it. When you first time the signs, then the numbers, then the variables by adding exponents if they have the same base. So eerste dinge is die tekens. Min maal 'n min is 'n plus. 2 maal 3 is 6. En dan is daar net 'n b. Nou waar moet daai b staan? Net langs van daar staan 6 maal b. So when you time it's the signs, it's a minus times a minus a plus. The numbers 2 times 3 is 6. And then there's still a b. But this means 6 times b. And the answer is 6b. 6 times b, that's the way it stays. Vir die agtersteen weer 'n plus maal 'n min is 'n min. En 2 maal 1 is 2. Plus times a minus is a minus. And 2 times 1 is 2. And that's your answer. With or without the plus, that's fine. Hoeveel terme in jou antwoord? Daar is 2 terme in jou antwoord. This is a binomial answer. A 2-term answer. Cannot be added because they have to be like terms. Weer eens hierso, jy kan niks hier binne in die hakie doen nie want dit is ongelyksoortig. You can't add these because they're unlike, but you can multiply. Multiply with distributive law, distributiewe wet. Eers 'n min maal 'n plus is 'n min. 2 maal 4 is 8 en a maal a. Now, when our time and the bases are the same, you add exponents, and these exponents are both 1. As jy maal met mekaar in die grondtal is dieselfde, hou die grondtal en plus die eksponente wat albei 1 is wat dan 2 gaan gee. So first the signs, then the numbers, then when you time and the bases are the same, you add the exponents and keep the base. Selfde storie, distributief, 'n plus maal 'n min is 'n min, 2 maal 3 is 6 en a tot die mag 1 gemaal daarmee is maar net gemaal daarmee. It has to just stand there with the a, timed with it, you can't do anything to that. Jy kan hierdie nie bymekaar tel nie want dit is nie gelyksoortig nie. You cannot simplify because they are not like terms. Goed, weer eens, kan nie optel nie ongelyksoortig, so dis distributiewe wet. Stappie vir stappie. Tekens is 'n min maal 'n min 'n plus. 3 maal 3 is nie 6 nie, dis 9 en b maal c. So that's it. You cannot simplify b times c, it's bc. Minus times a minus is a plus, 3 times 3 is 9, and b times c is just bc. It's 9 times b times c. Dis dit. Plus of min, ag die plus kan daar staan of nie. Min maal 'n min is 'n plus. Getalle 3 maal 4 is 12 en b maal d is net b, d. So the signs is a plus. 3 times 4 is 12 and b times d. There was no adding exponents because they don't have the same base. Al hierdie reëls. As jy maal in die grondtal is dieselfde, tel jy die eksponente bymekaar. As jy optel, moet dit gelyksoortig wees. If you time and the bases are the same, add the exponents. If you want to add, the variables have to be the same and then you add the coefficients. Jy moet gelyksoortige terme se koëffisiënte optel. Goed, so dis net maal. Ek kan nie optel nie, ek moet maal. Min maal 'n plus is 'n min en x tot die mag. When you time and the bases are the same, you add the exponents 3 and 1, which gives you 4. Plus maal 'n min is 'n min. Hou die grondtal, tel die eksponente bymekaar. Dan sit jy weer met 'n min. Maal 'n min is 'n plus. And x to the 3 times y is just x to the 3y. En onthou, gewoonlik skryf ons dit in alfabetiese volgorde. Is it wrong to write y x to the 3? No, it's not wrong. But if you always write everything alphabetical, you can't miss it if they are like terms. As daar nou gelyksoortige terme gesoek word, is dit altyd makliker om te vind as die goed in dieselfde volgorde is. Altyd alfabeties. Kan dit nie optel nie, is ongelyksoortig. Plus maal 'n plus bly 'n plus. 5 maal 2 is 10. En dan y tot die mag. Grondtal is dieselfde, hou die grondtal plus die eksponente 4 en 3 is 7. 2 times 5 is 10. Keep the base y, add the exponents. Plus times a plus stays a plus. You have to have the plus there, you don't have to have the plus there. 5 times 1 is 5, and then when you time and the bases are the same, y, you keep the base, add the exponents, gives you 6. 5 maal 1 is 5. En y tot die mag hou die grondtal, tel die eksponente 2 en 4 bymekaar en jy kry says you cannot add because they're not like terms. Weer 'n keer distributiewe wet, always first see if you can't simplify there, you can't. Jy kan nie binne die hakie vereenvoudig nie, dis ongelyksoortige terme wat jy wil optel en aftrek. So mal, plus mal 'n plus is 'n plus, but we don't have to write that. En dan is dit 1 mal 2 wat 2 is. Do you see there's a 1 times 2 if you want the numbers? And then you've got x times x to the 2 is x to the, remember y, x to the power 1 and x to the 2 is 3. En dan daai y moet nou maar net daarby staan. You can only add the exponents of the x's, the 1 and the 2 gives you 3. The y just stands there. Everything is timed with y, it's still timed with y. Plus mal en min is 'n min. 1 mal 3 is 3. En nou is x gemaal met niks anders nie, maar die eie is uit tot die 1 en uit tot die 3. Geef my uit tot die 4 eksponente. Remember that if there's nothing there, the exponent is 1. Plus times a minus is a minus. 1 times 3 is 3. X, y to the power at the exponents of 4. Jy kan nie optel nie, die gelyksoortige terme nie, want die veranderlikes is nie dieselfde nie. Not like terms. Res van die huiswerk, ons sê nog steeds 'n min maal 'n plus is 'n min. 1 maal 3 is 3. A tot die mag, grondtal is dieselfde. A tot die mag 2 en 1 is 3. En dan die B grondtal is dieselfde, eksponente 1 en 2 gee 3. So now this is more difficult. Minus times a plus is a minus. 1 times 3 for the numbers is 3. Base is A, add the exponents is 2 plus 1 is 3. Base is B, add the exponents 1 plus 2 is 3. Volgende enetjie, again a minus times a plus is a minus. 1 times 4 is 4 for the numbers. Then the A's, the bases are the same, you add the exponents 2 and 2 gives you 4. The bases B are the same, you add the exponents 1 and it gives you 2. And that cannot be, don't forget your equal sign, and that cannot be added together because the variables are not exactly the same, they are unlike terms. Weer 'n min maal 'n min is 'n plus. 3 maal 5 is 15 en die x staan net daarby. Minus times a minus is a plus, 3 times 5 is 15 and x is still there because it's still timed, you can't simplify that answer, it's 15x. And a minus times a plus is a minus, 3 times 2 is 6 and the y just stands there. Minus times a plus, minus is a plus, 3 maal 1 is 3, en jy kan nie die terme bymekaar tel nie, want almal is ongelyk, soortig, all of them are unlike terms. That was a nice easy one in between, after timing all 3. Again, 3 distributive laws, a minus times a minus is a plus, 2 times 3 is 6, y to the, add the exponents 2 and 2 gives you 4. Volgende een, min maal 'n plus is 'n min. 2 maal 4 is 8. Uit tot die mag, al twee grondtale is dieselfde, hou die grondtal, plus die eksponente 2 en 1 gee vir my 3. So we've got a minus times a plus is a minus, 2 times 4 for the numbers is 8. Keep the base y, add the exponents 2 and 1 and gives you 3. Moenie vergeet van die enetjie nie. En die laaste ene is 'n min maal 'n plus is 'n min, 2 maal 2 is 4 en daai y kwadraat kom staan maar net daar by. Minus times a plus is a minus, 2 times 2 is 4, and you still have to time with y3, which doesn't change the term, and the terms are unlike, and that's what your answer is. So 3 distributive laws. Eerste enetjie is 'n min maal 'n min is 'n plus. 2 maal 5 is 10. X hou ek die grondtal en ek tel die eksponente 3 en 4 bymekaar gee vir my 7. Y is dieselfde, hou die grondtal plus die eksponente 4 en 1 gee vir my 5. Do you see it's a recipe? Minus times a minus is a plus, 2 times 5 is 10. X you keep and add the exponents, gives you 7. Keep the y base, add the exponents 4 and 1, it gives you 5. It's a whole process of the signs, the numbers, the variables. Altyd tekens, getalle, veranderlik is. So again, minus times a plus is a minus. 5 times 6 is 30. X's go together, add the exponents. 3 and 3 gives you 6. Add the exponents. Y add exponents gives you 6. 4 plus 2 is 6. So weer eens, 'n min maal 'n plus is 'n min. 5 maal 6 is 30. X hou jy grondtalle, eksponente 3 en 3 gee vir jou 6 as jy dit optel. Die eie hou jy, grondtal, en jy tel eksponente 4 en 2 bymekaar en jy kry 6. And the last one for homework was a minus times a minus is a plus. 5 times 5 is 25. Keep the base x, add the exponents 3 en 2 bymekaar getel gee vir my 5. En eie, tel die eksponente bymekaar, 4 en 3 gee vir my 7. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And now we're going to divide. Ons volgende werk is om te maal. Om te deel. Ons kom dan vandag by die deling van algebraiese terme. So everything that we do gets added, added, added. You've done this rule. Jy het al hierdie reël gedoen met deling. You've done the division law. Exponent law that says when you divide and the bases are the same, you keep the base and you subtract exponents. Wanneer jy deel en die grondtal is dieselfde, hou die grondtal A en minus die 2 van mekaar eksponente. Net soos wat as jy maal, hou jy die grondtal en tel die eksponente bymekaar, deel, hou jy die grondtal, trek die eksponente af. With multiplication, you keep the base and you add exponents. With division, you keep the base and you subtract the exponents. So, voorbeeld. As ek vir jou sê om hierdie sommetjie te gaan doen, hoor weer net soos met die maalsomme. As jy deel, gaan jy dit ook doen. Eers die teken, dan die getalle, dan die veranderlikes. It's always first the sign, then the numbers, then the variables by using that law. So, 'n min gedeel deur 'n plus gee vir my 'n min. Minus divided by a plus is a minus. 6 can go into 42, and if you don't know your multiplication timetables, sharpen up on that, but you have a calculator. As jy nie weet dat 42 gedeeld deur 6 is 7 nie, gaan jy dalk 'n krisis hê. Wat jy ook kan doen, en wat meeste kinders doen, en ek hou daarvan, but just make sure after you've been scratching everywhere that we can still see what's going on there. Dat 'n min gedeel deur 'n plus is dan nou 'n min, want ek net 'n bietjie meer spasie hier het. But then you can say 6 can go into 42 7 times. En dan kan jy sê, maar as ek hierso deel, gaan dan mos nou oorbly m tot die mag 4, want ek sê 8 gedeel deur 4 is m tot die mag 4. So it's different techniques of writing this stuff. Do whatever suits you best. As jy deel, trek jy eksponente af, soos jy dadelik vir my kan sê, juffrou, dit gaan net m tot die mag 3 wees, en kan jy dit ook doen. So see the different techniques. First show it here, and then you write it, or you can just immediately write it. I'm going to do this on the board so that you can see where it falls away. So, 'n min gedeel deur 'n plus is 'n min. 6 gaan in 42 in 7 bly oor. Die m tot die 4 en die m tot die 8, 8 trek af 4 gee vir jou dan 'n 4. If you divide, you subtract 8 minus 4 gives you a 4. If you divide, you subtract, so 6 minus 3 gives me a 3. And is it possible that the biggest one can be at the bottom? Is dit moontlik dat die grootste een onder kan gestaan het? So die 6 onder en die 3 bo, ja, maar dan het die grootste ding onder oorgebly. If it was into the 3 at the top and into the 6 at the bottom, that answer would have been the 3 must stay left at the bottom. Okay? So dis moontlik, is bietjie moeilik al vir graad 8s, a little bit of a higher level, but you always divide the smaller one into the bigger one. If the question said 14 divided by 21, what's the answer? You can't say it goes 2 and 3 and swap it around. The 2 is left at the top, or let's make it 7. 7 over 14. That answer is not 2. That answer is a half. Same thing. If it's the smaller one at the top, then the answer is going to be left at the bottom where the bigger one was. Maar gewoonlik in graad 8, vir die begin in elk geval, is dit nie sommer die groter een onder nie. Alright, so, after doing all that, I've done the sum. But what's the answer? Please write it down nicely for me. So, dan sien ek, 'n min bly oor, 6 gaan dan 7 keer so 7, en m tot die 4 en n tot die 3 het oorgebly. Bokant en onder was daar eintlik op 1. Eventually, actually, it was over a 1, which you can write if you want to, maar dis jou antwoord. And usually the answer for minus 7 for the m and the n, this would be a 3-mark question for a grade 8 child. Okay. Selfde ding, ons doen gou weer. So eerstens gaan ek sê 'n min gedeel deur 'n min is 'n plus. Write the plus there if it helps you. En dan weet jy dat 8 gaan in 24 in 3 keer. And if you divide, you subtract your exponents, so it's going to be what's left. 6 minus 5 is going to be into the 1 that's left, which you don't have to write. Goed, so met ander woorde, daar bly bo-oor 3 en tot die 1 op 1. So if you really want to write that, nobody's going to stop you. But it's actually just 3n. And if you can do it without the scratching and say, it goes into 24 3 times, divide and get the exponents together, 6 minus 5 is 1. If you even want to write 6 minus 5 like that first and then say into the 1. Hoekom wys vir jou al die alternatiewe? Whatever vir jou gemaklik werk, maar die groot ding is, eers die tekens, dan die getalle, dan die veranderlikes. First the signs, which was a plus, then the numbers, which became 3, and then the variables. If the bases are the same, subtracting the exponents. If it's a divided by b, that's going to stay a divided by b. As dit a gedeel deur b is, kan jy niks daaraan doen nie. As die grondtalle nie dieselfde is, dan kan jy nie eksponente aftrek nie. Goed, kom ons gaan 'n bietjie moeiliker. So that was 3 into the 1, and that was the final answer. Wat nou as ek meer as een term moet gaan deel? There's one rule for a grade 8 child, because there's various other rules that can come in once you get to know all this stuff. First thing that you're going to do is you're going to break it up. This means they both have the same base, like getting the LCD, putting them together, we're now separating them again. Jy het altyd mos gekGV op een noemer geskuif. Dan kan jy mos nou net sowel die noemer weer gaan apart skryf. Say it was 1 plus 3, 2 over, say 5. That means 1 over 5 plus 2 over 5. Stem jy saam met my? As jy van hier af gewerk het, het jy gesê, kry die KGV, en dan skryf jy hom so. Nou gaan ek net van daai stap af terug, en ek split hulle op. So you can write here, you must split it up. So met ander woorde, jy gaan hê 7x kwadraat op x kwadraat, plus 1 op x kwadraat. Okay, something important that they're writing here, that you're always going to feel, oh, it doesn't help you, doesn't matter. Not important. It's actually very important wat hierso staan, is eintlik baie belangrik. Die feit dat jy mag nooit deel deur 'n 0 nie. So as daar iets onbekend onder die lyn staan, kan jy hom dalk 0 maak. If there's something under the line, a variable, this could be an undefined sum. If that x was 0, that's why they said this next door to it. Not nonsense. Because if x was 0, then this whole sum was undefined. Hulle moes dit bygeskryf het, dis eintlik baie belangrik. Want anders was die som ongedefinieer. Maar as jy met hierdie som sou wou aangaan, kan jy dit nou doen, weer te sê, 'n plus gedeel deur 'n min is 'n, plus gedeel deur 'n plus is 'n plus. Which you don't have to write. 7 divided by 1 if you want, will just stay 7. And it hasn't always been the same thing divided by itself is nothing. Not nothing, it goes in once. Getal gedeel deur homself is mos 1. So can you see that that answer is just 7? Could you have said, but it's x to the power 2 minus 2. And then that would be 7x to the 0. Is dit reg? Maar dan los jy hom nie daar nie. 2 minus 2 gee dan vir jou 0. Dan moet jy vir my sê, maar juffrou, ek weet dat dit is dan eintlik net 7 maal met 1 wat net 7 is. Now it's not necessary to do all these millions of steps. If something is divided by itself, it's always been 1. So if that was just x squared divided by x squared, the answer would have been 1. As daai net x kwadraat op x kwadraat was die antwoord 1. Maar dit is 'n beginsel. So any alternative has to work out right. As jy alternatief gebruik, al is hy lank, dit moet werk. So as jy deel, trek jy eksponente van mekaar af. Dan gaan dit mos 2 minus 2 wees wat 0 is. Maar daai antwoord is mos 1, because you know that anything to the power 0 is 1, not quite. Not 0 to the 0, but anything else to the power 0 is 1. So this means 7 times 1, which is 7. Do you agree with me that you don't have to write all those steps down? Jy hoef net te gesê het, die goed kanselleer mekaar uit en die antwoord is net 7. But what can I do there? Nothing else. That'll stay 1 over x squared. That's your two-term answer. Dis jou twee-term antwoord. Jy kan niks verder vereenvoudig daaraan nie. Okay, 2 more examples before I give you your homework. Selfde ding, jy is besig om te deel. Who says you must divide? Look at the sum, it says division. Something divided by something. Eerste ding wat jy gaan doen is jy split dit op. Dis die beste ding wat ek vir 'n graad 8 kind kan leer is, split die goed op, split it up. But the problem comes with all these minuses here. Very important. Everything's going to be over negative 4a, over negative 4a, over negative 4a. Want almal se grondtalle, die grondtalle nie, almal se noemers is dieselfde. All the denominators are minus 4a. But then the other signs just go at the top. So hierdie ene gaan dan minus 24a tot die 3 hê. Maar as jy nou daar min 8 kwadraat staan, wat staan nou hier? Nou jy kan hier 'n plus skryf, of jy kan daai minus net hier gaan skryf. Maar die feit van die saak is, of jy nou geskryf het plus en min, this is all going to give you a plus. And if you decided to write the minus over here, it would still give you a plus. So there's variations, but I know it confuses you terribly. So daarom gaan ek net vir jou sê, los hom by sy maatjie, en skryf hier tussenin 'n plus. Dis 'n alternatief. There are very many alternatives. Personally, I don't like all these lots of signs, but if it helps you, then that's fine. Keep that sign at the top, and in between just put pluses, because they are all added. Remember, they are added. Even if it says minus, then you're adding a negative. Selfs al sê 'n minus, jy tel 'n negatief by. Reg? Al staan daar 'n minus, ek sê jy tel 'n negatief by. Okay, so then, because now it's a little bit difficult. So eerste ding is weer die tekens, getalle, veranderlik is. Do you see the whole mission? Signs, numbers, variables. Die teken is 'n min gedeel deur 'n min is 'n plus. 4 gaan na 24 in, 6 keer. En as ek dan gaan sê a tot die mag, wat staan hier? If it's nothing there, then there's a 1. So when you divide, you subtract the exponent. So it's going to be a, keep the base a, and 3 minus 1 gives you a 2. If you wanted to do it here first, and then say a to the 2, that's fine. So you can see that there's 6a squared left, and the minus gave me a plus. Reg, baie beslis nie net een manier om dit goed te skryf nie. Right, so this one now, oops, and I erase this negative here. So dit gaan wees plus daarvoor, maar daai min gedeel deur 'n min is mos 'n plus, maal die plus hier bly 'n plus. So always first the signs. Basically comes down to every 2 negatives makes a plus. Elke 2 negatiewe maak 'n plus. So daar sit die plus, maal 'n plus bly 'n plus. Dan gaan die 4 en die 8 in, en daar bly 2 oor. En dan gaan die a tot die 1 en die a tot die 2 in, en dan gaan jy sê a tot die mag 1, 2 minus 1. So when you divide, you subtract the exponent. So it's 2 minus 1 gives you just 1. Some kids find this more confusing to write all of this, and they just do the sum and say, let's look at the signs. It's going to be a negative. Want the plus gedeel deur 'n min is 'n min, maal nog weer 'n plus is 'n min. Every 2 minuses gives a plus. There's only one minus, so it'll stay a minus. En wat gaan hier aan? Something divided by itself has always been 1. Or if you want, 4a all cancel. Can I add these numbers? Hier is alles ongelyksoortig. Hier is 'n 3-term antwoord. This is a trinomial answer, and they can't be added because they're all unlike terms. So this would be worth like 5-6 marks, maybe even a little bit more. Okay, Saladin, a little bit smaller. I just wanted to confirm that if you do put them each on their own denominator, it must be negative 3. Put the plus there, and then this one has a 9a square. It's actually a plus if you want, and then that one has a negative 3. So dat jy weer eens, onthou jy is gelyk aan tekens, kan sê, 'n plus gedeel deur 'n min is 'n min, 3 gaan in 9 in, 3 keer, en die a kwadraat het niks gedeel nie. So it's a plus divided by a minus is a minus. 3 goes into 9 3 times. You can show it here. And a square hasn't gone into anything. This one, the sign will be minus divided by a minus is a plus times a plus stays a plus. And something divided into itself has always been 1. 2-term antwoord, 2-term answer, binomial, binoom antwoord as jy wil. En daar is ongelyksoortig, jy kan nie gaan verder optel nie. Wat is die graad van die uitdrukking? 2 hoogste eksponent. Wat is die koëffisiënt van a kwadraat? -3. What is the coefficient of a square? -3. What is the degree of the expression? Highest exponent is 2. What is the constant of the expression? 1. Wat is die konstante in die uitdrukking? 1. Sien jy, ek is heeltyd besig om terug te verwys. What is gone isn't gone. What's in the past isn't in the past. It can always be asked again. Goed, so jy gaan vir my probeer om hierdie te gaan deel met mekaar.